Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be diving into something that's super important, especially when it comes to conflict resolution. And it can seriously just transform how we handle the disagreement. And that's showing empathy. We've all been there. Conflicts arise, and it's easy for things to escalate, to get out of control. But what if I told you that showing a little bit of empathy can actually go a long way in preserving the relationship? The truth is, conflict is a natural part of life. Whether it's with friends, family members, colleagues, teammates, but the key is not to avoid it, but to actually manage it effectively. And at the heart of effective conflict resolution is empathy. So, what exactly is empathy? Oftentimes we get sympathy and empathy mixed up. Sympathy is about feeling sorry for somebody. Empathy is actually about understanding and sharing their feelings. It's putting yourself in their shoes. And it's all about actually seeing the situation from their perspective. Now, here's the kicker. You may not agree with them, but you still need to actually put yourself in their shoes. And the best part about showing empathy is that when you actually approach conflict empathetically, you're essentially saying, I hear you, I see you, and I'm trying to understand what it feels like for you. And in doing so, it immediately de escalates the tension and it actually opens up the door for a more productive conversation. Empathetic statements aren't about admitting fault. It's not about saying I'm wrong or they're wrong. It's all about acknowledging the other person's feelings. So, I'm going to share a couple practical examples of empathetic statements that you can use. I can see why you're frustrated about this. It sounds like you feel unheard, or it seems like you're really upset by what happened. And I understand that the situation has been difficult for you. I can tell that this is really important to you, and I appreciate you sharing how you feel. If I were in your position, I might feel similar. I understand that my actions may have caused you some discomfort, and I regret doing that. So, do you notice how the statements I just shared, they focus on the other person's feelings and their perspective? I'm not trying to defend myself, and that's what empathy is. It's not about agreeing with the other person. It's about validating their emotional experience. Beyond your words, your body language speaks volumes. When you're trying to show empathy, your nonverbal cues are just as important. They're crucial. Here's a couple tips. Maintain eye contact. When you do that, it shows that you're engaged, you're paying attention. Keep an open posture. Avoid crossing your arms or turning away. When you do that, it shows that you're defensive or dismissive. Lean in slightly. When you do this, it actually shows that you're engaged, you're interested. Mirroring, sometimes subtle mirroring their body language actually can create a sense of connection. But be careful not to overdo it because it could be mocking sometimes. So now let's talk about a couple incredible benefits of showing empathy compared to not showing empathy. When you show empathy, it can de-escalate tension. When somebody feels understood, they're actually less likely to be defensive or aggressive. It builds trust and rapport. It strengthens your relationships by showing that you care about their feeling. It facilitates problem solving. Once their emotions are acknowledged, both parties can actually focus on finding a solution. It reduces stress. For everyone involved, a more empathetic approach generally leads to less stress. And then the long-term relationship preservation, it actually helps us navigate conflict without damaging the underlying relationship. And then on the flip side, not being empathetic can only escalate the conflict. It dismisses someone's feelings and only makes them more upset and defensive. It can damage trust. It can make the other person feel ignored, disrespected, undervalued. It stalls resolution. When emotions are high, it's difficult to actually think logically and to find a common ground. It increases stress. For both parties, a lack of empathy can simply lead to prolonged frustration and anger. It erodes relationships. Repeated lack of empathy can permanently damage relationships. So think about it. When you feel understood, don't you feel more willing to listen to the other person? And that's the power of empathy. It literally creates a bridge, allowing both parties to cross over and to actually meet in the middle. So the next time you find yourself in a conflict, remember some of these tools. Take a deep breath, try to put yourself in their shoes, and use these empathetic statements and some of the body language tips that I've shared. And trust me, you will be amazed at the outcome.